The Center for Unhindered Living presents Plus Size Polyamory with Judy McNabb, where our motto is, don't follow the crowd, follow your heart. Episode 1, What is polyamory and why should you care? Good morning, or afternoon, as the case may be. I hope you're having a great day so far. Welcome to Episode 1 of Plus Size Polyamory. On this show, we will be discussing polyamory as a lifestyle choice and relationship style. As a plus-size woman, I will also be discussing the challenges of being a plus-sized individual in our society and in the polyamorous lifestyle. We'll be interviewing some outstanding guests who will share with us some of the challenges they've experienced, as well as some of their successes. Hopefully, we'll give you some tips on successful plus-size dating, sex, and relationships. We encourage you to develop your own framework for living by honoring your emotions and accepting your role as meaning maker in your own lives. But first, I'd like to ask you to join our Patreon program. If you have found something of value in these podcasts, please consider becoming a patron. You can pledge as little as $1 a month and have access to special patron benefits, as well as be the first to be notified when new episodes come out. To join, click on the Become a Patron button at the top of the podcast page, or go to patron.podbean.com/pspolyamory. And thank you for your support. So you're probably aware, unless you live in some remote tribal culture somewhere, that monogamy is touted as the epitome of a good relationship and by some as the only right way to live. Why is that the case, given that monogamy is not natural for human beings? For most of our evolutionary history, we have been a polyamorous species. Polyamory simply means many loves. It means loving more than one person at a time. If that idea seems foreign to you, think about your children. Do you love them all equally? When you had your second child, did you say, "There's no way I can love this second child because I already have one"? Of course you didn't say that. We are capable of loving more than one person at a time. We have been polyamorous for most of our history as a species. Monogamy, the commitment to only one partner, was popularized only 2,000 to 3,000 years ago by the Romans. Before that, both Jews and Christians had practiced polygamy, and many pagan cultures had practiced polyandry. The Romans, however, didn't want to pass their land, title, and power to someone who was not their legitimate heir, and their solution to this problem was to control reproductive behavior by forbidding plural relationships. So they made monogamy the only legal and socially acceptable relationship style. Now, that did not mean people suddenly became monogamous. Monogamy was the only legal form of commitment, but people still slept with whoever they wanted, while being publicly monogamous. Down through the centuries since then, social pressure has been brought to bear on people to encourage monogamy as the only moral or ethical relationship style. There is, however, no credible evidence that monogamy is healthier or better for people than polyamory. Up until now, there has been little research on polyamory, but in 2019, a study was published in the Journal of Sex Research, in which they compared the demographic backgrounds of 2,428 polyamorous people and 539 monogamous people, and asked them to fill out an online questionnaire. Now, if you read about polyamory in popular magazines, you might get the impression that polyamorous people are mainly white, financially affluent, and physically attractive. Well, let me dispel that myth right now. Though my husband and I both have college educations, we are neither affluent nor unusually attractive. We are really very average. According to the study, polyamorous people are more likely to identify as bisexual or pansexual, are more likely to report being divorced, and make less money yearly than monogamous couples. They also seem to be averse to labels of all kinds. When given multiple choice answers to describe themselves, they are more likely to mark other and write in their own answer. Politically, spiritually, and sexually, they prefer not to be constrained by norms. It's estimated that approximately 5% of people in the United States are currently in ethical, non-monogamous relationships, and approximately 20% of the U.S. population has attempted some form of non-monogamous relationship style at some point. That's 1 out of every 5 people, folks. That's literally millions of people. When I talk about polyamory or non-monogamy, most people think I'm describing people who cheat on their spouses or partners with extramarital affairs. But polyamorous relationships are not cheating. They are best described as ethical non-monogamy. Everything is open, honest, and consensual. Polyamorous relationships are characterized by their honesty, transparency, and open communication. Partners make up their own relationship rules. The best way I can describe this is by sharing the relationship rules that my husband and I have developed for our own relationship. Both of us have the choice to be in multiple relationships at one time. While some couples have a rule that any person added to the relationship must be approved by all members of the pod, we do not have that rule. We're both adults, and we don't need to ask permission as if we were children. The whole idea of polyamory is to have more freedom. Having to ask permission to be with someone simply doesn't seem very free. We do, however, maintain transparency about who we are with and what we're doing. We enjoy hearing each other's stories. After a date, we eagerly share details of our experience with each other. We get joy from seeing our partner excited and happy. Our ultimate goal is that all our partners know each other and like each other. But as different relationships move at different paces, some relationships are not ready for this in the beginning. Everything happens naturally and organically, so everyone feels comfortable. I'm often asked, if you and your husband are so happy together, why are you looking around for other partners? To that, I offer this analogy. What is your favorite food? Let's say that you say steak is your favorite food. Okay, so then I'm going to say to you, if steak is your favorite, that's all you should eat. Every single day, for every single meal, for the rest of your life. Because if you eat something else, that would prove that steak is not really your favorite. Well, that's a ludicrous argument to make. Just because I'd like a little cheesecake every once in a while doesn't mean steak isn't my favorite. It just means I like a little variety. If you stop and think about it, why did the surface of the earth evolve so many different kinds of food choices? Because variety is healthiest for living organisms. Evolution sees to it that only those traits that ensure survival of the species actually get passed on. So the fact that we have literally thousands of different available foods means that evolution discovered that variety is healthier than a lack of variety. I would submit to you that variety in human relationships serves the same purpose. The idea that you must choose one person from the millions of people on this planet and expect that person to meet all your needs for the rest of your life is one of the reasons that 50% of marriages end in divorce. We're setting couples up for failure by giving them impossible and unreasonable expectations. People grow and change during their lives. Their needs change, and the best way to meet those needs changes. There's no good reason why monogamy meets people's needs better than polyamory. Lest you object on religious grounds, let me just say that there is no verse in the Bible that would suggest that a polyamorous lifestyle is less ethical or moral than a monogamous one. So you needn't give up your religious faith to embrace polyamory. You might need to change churches, but you don't necessarily have to give up your faith or your spiritual community. Perhaps we'll speak more on this later in another episode. In addition to the challenges of being polyamorous in a mostly monogamous society, there are challenges faced by plus-size individuals, whether polyamorous or not. When my husband and I first got into this lifestyle, I questioned whether or not I could be successful at it because of being plus-sized. I told him, I'm confident you love me, but other people aren't necessarily going to. The prejudice against being non-average is a very old prejudice. So I began to look around for resources for plus-sized individuals and didn't find much that was helpful. Hence this podcast. The most important prerequisite for success with plus-size dating and relationships is self-confidence. If you present yourself as someone who knows what they want and is comfortable in their own skin, you have a better chance of success. Self-confidence is very attractive, and you'll develop this magnetic pull that draws people to you. Will there still be jerks that don't like you? Well, sure there will, but that's true whether you're plus size or average size. In the coming weeks and months, we hope to bring you interviews with some great polyamorous folks, as well as some great plus size success stories. If you think you could contribute something to this discussion and would be willing to be interviewed, please feel free to email us at unhinderedliving@gmail.com. Visit the Center for Unhindered Living's website at unhinderedliving.com. Join our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/unhinderedliving. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and catch more of these podcasts at pspolyamory.podbean.com. Have something to say about this? Leave a comment. Join the discussion. Thanks for listening and have a great day. By the way, episodes of this podcast can be found on YouTube, Podbean, Intune, and Spotify. Have a great day and see you tomorrow.